We've all been there, right? That undeniable, sometimes totally overwhelming urge to drink a glass of water. It's a feeling so common we barely even give it a second thought. But you know, behind that simple sensation is one of the most sophisticated, high-stakes survival systems our body has. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the incredible biological machinery that creates the feeling of thirst.
So, let's just start with that very basic question. When you feel thirsty, what is actually happening inside you? Is it just, your mouth feeling a bit dry? Or is there something much, much deeper going on?
Well, the answer is that thirst isn't just a feeling. It's a carefully orchestrated life or death alarm. It's this powerful motivational drive, engineered by your brain's central command to protect the delicate balance of fluids that every single one of your cells needs to survive. So let's start at the very top of that command chain. Our journey begins deep inside the brain, in a tiny but incredibly powerful region that acts as the master regulator of our entire internal world. And this is the hypothalamus.
The ultimate goal of the hypothalamus, and really the whole reason thirst even exists, is to maintain something called homeostasis. Now think of it as your body's ideal state of equilibrium. It's the biological sweet spot where everything just works. From your body temperature to your blood sugar, your body is in this constant dynamic process of keeping everything stable. And let me tell you, fluid balance is one of the most critical parts of that equation.
The Cleveland Clinic actually calls the hypothalamus the body's smart control coordinating center, and that is a perfect analogy. It's constantly getting messages from all over your body, analyzing the data, and making little adjustments to keep that homeostatic balance. When it comes to fluids, it is the undisputed boss.
So how does this control center know when to sound the alarm? Well, it's not just listening for one thing. In fact, it's monitoring for two very distinct distress signals that trigger two different kinds of thirst.
So our body has these two distinct triggers for thirst. On one hand, you've got osmotic thirst. This is what you feel after eating a really salty bag of chips. The salt gets absorbed into your bloodstream, making it too concentrated. This creates an osmotic imbalance that literally pulls water out of your cells. Your cells start to shrink, and what your body needs is pure water. On the other hand, you have hypovolemic thirst. This happens when you lose a significant volume of both fluid and salt, like from intense sweating, being sick, or bleeding. Now here, the problem isn't concentration, it's the total volume. Your blood pressure can actually drop. The deficit is both water and salt, which is why in these situations, you might crave not just water, but also electrolytes.
But this brings up a huge question. How can the brain, which is protected behind this fortress called the blood-brain barrier, possibly know the exact chemical composition of your blood? The answer is one of the most amazing adaptations in all of neurobiology.
Let's meet the heroes of our story, the subfornical organ, or SFO, and the organum vasculosum laminae terminalis, or OVLT. These tiny little structures are the brain's chief sentinels, and they have a superpower that almost no other part of the brain has.
Research describes their unique structure as a profound evolutionary adaptation, and that is not an overstatement. This feature is absolutely essential for our survival.
And this slide really illustrates their secret. The SFO and OVLT are what are known as circumventricular organs. This just means they're located in areas where the blood-brain barrier is weak or even completely absent. This isn't a defect, it's a design feature. It allows the neurons in these regions to be in direct contact with your bloodstream, letting them literally taste your blood in real time and detect even the tiniest changes in its composition.
So what exactly are these sentinels looking for? Well, they're scanning for those two key signals we just talked about. First, rising osmolality. When your blood gets too salty and the special cells in the SFO and OVLT shrink, it physically pulls open these little ion channels called TRPV1 channels. That triggers an electrical signal. Second, they're detecting a hormone called angiotensin II. This hormone is a major player in a system that responds to low blood volume and pressure, the classic signal for that hypovolemic thirst. Okay, so once the SFO and OVLT detect a problem, they don't just sit there. They initiate a powerful, body-wide response, moving the whole system from detection to action. The body's action plan is this brilliant two-pronged attack. The first part is behavioral. The SFO and OVLT send signals up to higher brain regions, which creates that conscious, powerful motivational drive we experience as thirst. It's the feeling that makes you get up and go find water. But at the exact same time, it launches an internal hormonal fix to start damage control immediately. This hormonal fix has two main stars. The first is arginine vasopressin, or AVP, a hormone that tells your kidneys to stop releasing water and start conserving it. The second is a powerful chain reaction system called RAS, which stands for the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system.
Now, I know this might look complex, but it's actually a beautiful cascade. It all starts in the kidneys. When they sense a drop in blood pressure, they release an enzyme called renin. Renin finds a protein from the liver and converts it into something called angiotensin I. This molecule then travels to the lungs, where an enzyme called ACE, yep, the same one targeted by some blood pressure meds, converts it into the powerhouse hormone angiotensin II. This is the very same hormone our brain sentinels detect. Angiotensin II then does two things. It powerfully stimulates thirst, and it travels to the adrenal glands, telling them to release aldosterone. Finally, aldosterone gives the kidneys their orders. Hold on to salt, and where salt goes, water follows. It's just an elegant multi-organ system to defend your blood volume.
Okay, so the alarms have sounded and you've started drinking. But this leads to another biological puzzle. How does your body know when you've had enough?
I mean, think about it. When you're really thirsty, that feeling of relief comes almost instantly, within seconds of the first gulp of water. But we know it takes much longer, like 15, 20 minutes or more, for that water to actually get absorbed from your gut and rebalance your blood. If your brain waited for that to happen, you would dangerously overdrink every single time. So what's going on?
The answer is a remarkable phenomenon called pre-absorptive satiety. Your brain doesn't wait for proof of rehydration. Instead, it uses sensory cues from your mouth and throat to predict that rehydration is on the way and proactively shuts down the thirst alarm. It's an incredibly clever anticipatory system.
So what are these predictive signals? Well, the most powerful one, according to research, is cold temperature. Receptors in your mouth and throat, called TRPM8 receptors, detect the cold, which sends a strong all-clear signal to the brain. This is why a cold drink feels so much more satisfying than a room temperature one when you're parched. The mechanical act of swallowing and other nerves that monitor the flow of liquid also chip in. All these cues come together to tell the thirst centers in your brain, okay, help is on the way. You can stand down.
And this rapid off switch isn't just for comfort. It's a critical defense mechanism. Drinking too much water too quickly can lead to a dangerous condition called hyponatremia, where your blood's electrolytes get diluted. It can even be fatal. So this predictive off switch is literally what protects us from ourselves.
The importance of this entire intricate system becomes crystal clear when it breaks. In a condition called diabetes insipidus, which is unrelated to sugar diabetes, the body can't produce or respond to that water-saving hormone AVP. The result is massive, uncontrollable water loss through the kidneys. This leads to an extreme, insatiable thirst as the body desperately tries and fails to keep up. It's a really stark reminder of the constant, invisible work this system does for us.
So, the crucial point is this. That simple feeling of thirst is anything but simple. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering. It's a dynamic, moment-to-moment conversation between your cells, your hormones, and your brain, all working in perfect synchrony to maintain that delicate balance of homeostasis that keeps you alive.
And that leaves us with a final thought. We've seen how the brain makes these incredibly fast and accurate predictions about fluid balance just to protect you. It makes you wonder, what other invisible predictive calculations is your brain making right now to keep your complex biology running smoothly?